Sonder. Every person you pass on the street is the protagonist of a 70-year drama that you will never watch. There are 8 billion active scripts running simultaneously, yet your brain is biologically hardwired to treat 99.9% of them as background noise. This is a structural failure of human empathy. We evolved in tribes of 150 people. Anything beyond that is a statistical blur. You see a woman buying coffee. She has a secret debt, a childhood scar, and a specific brand of toothpaste she prefers. She has a complex web of relationships and a recurring dream about falling. To you, she is an obstacle in the queue. The logistics of her existence are as concrete as yours, but your consciousness lacks the bandwidth to process it. This realization is a massive blow to the ego. You are not the center of the universe. You are a rounding error in a global census. You are the blur in the background of a stranger's vacation photo. You are the person walking past the window during someone else's defining tragedy. The world is a library of billions of books, and you are illiterate in all but one. We walk through a sea of epics and see only traffic. The city is a monumental achievement of collective indifference. We are all extras in each other's movies, and none of us are getting paid for the role. It is a mathematical certainty that your life is irrelevant to almost everyone who has ever lived.
Kenopia, the atmosphere of a place that is usually bustling with people, but is now abandoned and quiet. This is the emotional resonance of a dead mall. Architecture is designed for human density. When the humans are removed, the building enters a state of existential crisis. Fluorescent lights flicker over empty food courts that once facilitated the mass consumption of processed fats. Now, they represent a billion-dollar loss in commercial real estate. This is the physical manifestation of obsolescence. The retail apocalypse of the 2010s turned cathedrals of consumerism into concrete carcasses. Your brain interprets this silence as a biological threat. We expect the hum of HVAC systems and the shuffle of sneakers. Without them, the silence has a physical weight. It is the realization that the world does not actually need us to function. The building survives the occupant. Cities are full of these ghost zones. School hallways at 3 in the morning, abandoned airport terminals during a strike. The tax codes and zoning laws keep these structures standing while they rot from the inside out. We build monuments to our presence, but we are fickle tenants. The eerie feeling is the sound of the stage remaining while the play has been canceled indefinitely. It is the ultimate spatial irony. We build for eternity, but live for the fiscal quarter. The void is not empty. It is full of the echoes of things we no longer care to buy.
Crystallism, the tranquility of being indoors during a massive thunderstorm. This is a victory of engineering over the atmospheric pressure of a hostile planet. Your ancestors lived in caves and interpreted lightning as a divine executioner. You sit on a polyester couch and watch the kinetic energy of the sky through a thermal insulated pane of glass. This is the triumph of the construction industry. The rain falls at terminal velocity, capable of eroding mountains over millennia, yet it cannot penetrate your cheap drywall. You feel a sense of smug superiority over the elements. This feeling is rooted in the den effect. It is the biological satisfaction of a secure perimeter. The irony lies in the extreme fragility of this safety. A slight shift in the wind or a failure in the local drainage system can turn your sanctuary into a flooded liability. Insurance companies categorize these events as acts of God, specifically to avoid paying for the damage. You feel cozy because you ignore the physics of the situation. The storm is a massive release of energy that does not acknowledge your existence. Your house is a box of sticks and gypsum held together by nails and the hope that the local building inspector wasn't lazy. Crystallism is the delusion that 4 walls can pause the inevitable entropic decay of the environment.
Anamoya, nostalgia for a time you have never known. This is the primary export of the heritage industry. We consume curated high-definition images of the 1950s or the 1920s and mistake the aesthetics for the reality. We want the neon lights of the 80s without the crushing anxiety of the Cold War. We want the Victorian lace without the cholera and the lack of indoor plumbing. This is a cognitive bypass. The present is messy and technologically demanding, so we retreat into a filtered past. Marketing firms exploit this by selling vintage products designed with planned obsolescence, wrapped in the packaging of a more durable era. It is a feedback loop of false memories. You miss the simple life of the 19th century, conveniently ignoring the fact that you would likely die from a minor infection before your 30th birthday. The past is a foreign country that has been heavily edited for your viewing pleasure. We crave the certainty of history because the ending is already written. We find comfort in sepia tones because they obscure the dirt and the systemic oppression. Anamoya is the ultimate symptom of a society that has lost its vision for the future. When a culture cannot imagine a better tomorrow, it invents a better yesterday. It is a collective hallucination. We are mourning a ghost that never actually lived. We are homesick for a movie set that was torn down before we were born.
Lachesism. The inexplicable desire to be struck by a disaster. You are bored by the predictability of a safe middle-class existence. You watch disaster movies and secretly hope for a solar flare to wipe out the electrical grid. This is not a death wish, it is a wish for a narrative reset. Modern life is a series of administrative hurdles and safety protocols. Lachesism is the hunger for the clarity of survival. In a crisis, the mortgage does not matter. The performance review is irrelevant. The social hierarchy collapses into the immediate need for food and shelter. This feeling is a direct result of the industrialization of safety. We have outsourced our survival to government agencies and global supply chains. We are apex predators sitting in cubicles. This creates an internal tension that we attempt to resolve through high-risk hobbies or disaster fantasies. People pay thousands of dollars to jump out of planes just to feel the proximity of the end. The irony is that those who actually experience the disaster spend the rest of their lives praying for the boredom you currently despise. Lachesism is a luxury of the protected. It is the ultimate insult to the victims of actual tragedy. We want the fire just to see if we would burn. We want the crash just to see if we would walk away. It is the arrogance of a person who has never truly been hungry.
Exolansis. The tendency to give up trying to talk about an experience because people cannot relate to it. You have a moment of profound clarity or trauma. You try to explain it using the limited vocabulary of your native tongue. Your audience nods, checks their watch, and offers a cliché. You stop talking. This is the wall of linguistics. Words are low-resolution approximations of high-fidelity feelings. Exolansis is the decision to keep your stories to yourself, to prevent them from being diluted. When you tell a story and it fails to land, the memory itself feels cheaper. We live in an era of hyper-communication, yet we are more misunderstood than ever. The commodification of storytelling and corporate culture has stripped the act of its intimacy. Everything is now a narrative or a brand story designed for maximum engagement. Real human experience does not fit into a 3-act structure. It is nonlinear, often pointless, and frequently ugly. Because we cannot package our joy or our grief into a consumable format, we stop trying. We become isolated islands of internal data. The irony of the information age is that the most vital information remains unshared. We have the tools to talk to anyone on the planet, but we lack the syntax to tell them who we are. Silence is the only way to keep the experience untainted. We give up on the audience to save the integrity of the play.
Maubau traurig. The sudden, inexplicable urge to push people away and withdrawal into yourself. The name is derived from the German word for the sadness of the Berlin Wall. It is the fear of vulnerability masquerading as a desire for independence. You are in a stable relationship or a functioning social circle, and you feel the overwhelming need to destroy the bridge. This is a preemptive strike against abandonment. The human psyche is a fortress with a hair-trigger alarm system. We mistake intimacy for an invasion of our sovereign territory. We build walls of sarcasm, physical distance, and silence. The irony is that the wall designed to protect the inhabitant eventually becomes a prison. You are safe from rejection, but you are also safe from connection. Evolutionary biology favored the cautious and the paranoid, but modern social structures demand an openness that feels like a threat. This creates a friction that manifests as sudden, irrational hostility toward those we care about most. We sabotage our own happiness to maintain a sense of control over the outcome. We would rather be lonely by choice than rejected by surprise. It is a catastrophic failure of risk assessment. We pay for our security with our isolation. The wall is built of bricks we laid ourselves, and we are the only ones with the keys to the gate we refuse to unlock.
Jouska, a hypothetical conversation that you compulsively play out in your head. You are in the shower, winning an argument that happened 3 years ago. You are rehearsing a confrontation that will never take place. You have written both sides of the script. You are the hero, the wit, and the moral authority. This is the brain's attempt to exert control over a chaotic social world. We spend hours in internal monologues, refining our delivery and sharpening our rebuttals. It is a massive waste of cognitive energy. The human brain consumes 20% of the body's total energy, and a significant portion of that is spent on these fictional scenarios.
The legal system relies on hope that people remember what was actually said, but Jouska ensures that our memories are overwritten by our rehearsals. When the real moment arrives, it never follows the script. People are unpredictable variables. They do not give the cues you practiced for. You are left holding a brilliant response to a question that was never asked. This is the irony of the prepared mind. We live in the future or the past, but rarely in the present. We are the directors of movies that will never be screened for an audience. We are trapped in a loop of hypothetical perfection. Reality is always a disappointment compared to the polished dialogue of our internal cinema. We talk to ourselves because it is the only way to ensure we get the last word.